What to do with the information gathered. This video was shot during the Interact event, Indicators and Data Collection, in Florence on the 2nd and 3rd of March 2017. In this video, you hear when, how and what data should be gathered, and you can drive this information back to the project and program cycle.
What to do with the information gathered? Now, the first obvious statement is if you're not gathering the information timely and right, then you've actually got nothing to do with it, yeah, frankly. So the first thing is to make sure you are gathering the information, you've got the protocols right, you've got the processes right. Secondly, monitoring is central to the performance management of the performance management of projects. Yeah, we said this morning that good project management is not about having that single flight plan that you never deviate from. It's having a good flight plan that you're able to change and alter mid-flight, on the fly as they call it, and monitoring allows you to do that. Thirdly, you should be gathering information against specific output and outcome targets, output and results targets. Yeah? So you're not just gathering any data. We've got output targets, we've got activity targets, we've got result targets. We need to be counting and gathering against those. And the really important thing to do when you're thinking about setting up your monitoring regime, which you will do in partnership with your applicants, one, to define the indicators that are to be used. So is everybody clear what they are gathering for you? Yeah? And I see so often that people produce data to programs like yours and it's not the right output data or the right result data because they've misunderstood what you want to count. Secondly, you should be able to forecast what you expect projects to deliver over time so you can see whether your program is remaining on track or moving off track. Thirdly, you need to ensure that your applicants have got the systems, the processes, the protocols in place to collect the data in a timely, verifiable, accurate fashion. Yeah. Fourthly, you want to be able to get applicants to report probably quarterly to you against their performance for activities and outputs, and typically, in my experience, you will pay bills, claims for resource against reported activities and outputs. Yeah? You want 50 million quid for your project, I want to see 50 million quid worth of outputs and activities delivered, broadly cast. Yeah? And finally, we touched upon this morning, the process of verification, so that what is being reported to you is not just numbers, pretend numbers, but is verifiable, actual, substantive output that has been delivered. So those 5 components of what you'd put together in your monitoring regime: defining the output, this is what we want captured; forecasting what might be produced, so you can keep an eye on how projects and programs are performing; collection, reporting, and verification. And that's coming through according to how you set your programs up, maybe on a quarterly basis, maybe a 6-monthly basis. I don't think you want to be collecting data on a monthly basis. Yeah? Your programs aren't moving that quickly. You're not invoking change that quickly. But you do need to be collecting it more frequently than yearly. Yeah? So probably quarterly, 6-monthly is appropriate. And the more risky the project that you're involved in, probably the more towards 3 months you would want to collect, as opposed 6-monthly if it's a familiar project with a familiar team who are well known to you and trusted. So try and factor in the risk of delivery, yeah, in the frequency with which you calculate data. If done well, this is the really important one, if done well, good monitoring data makes sure you've got the foundations in place for a good evaluation. And nothing will annoy evaluators more than they come in, they've signed up to terms of reference, we start to doing the work, can I see your monitoring data? It's over here and it's over there and there's a bit there and you need to look at that. That really, really annoys us. We expect to see when we come in to evaluate that you have really, been good housekeepers of the data. Systems need to be clean, they need to be aligned, they need to be de-snagged. If I see a monitoring data set that's full of errors, that's all over the place, that clearly you don't understand, my immediate conclusion is you do not know how to monitor this program, and if you don't know how to monitor this program, it's highly unlikely you've actually moderated it, and kept it dynamic in real time. Yeah? So the act of presenting the data to evaluators is really quite an important one, and do work hard to get that right. Now, other bits of stuff to think about. Number one, be clear on the different types of data and indicator that you'll be collecting. Secondary data, which already exists, which comes from existing data sets. They might be regional data sets, they might be national data sets, national statistics, regional statistics. Those are of one sort, and you will often be gathering those as part of the condition indicators, the condition context I was talking about earlier. Remember the box up here? Condition indicators, and then response indicators down here, and the two boxes over there. Condition indicators are allowing you to track how your context, how your baseline is moving. So that's the first sort of data. And then the primary data, often you will get from projects directly, reported in, quarterly reports. They might be doing surveys and providing other sources of intelligence to you. Those are coming in as primary data sets, and they're allowing you to understand how you are responding to the context that the program sits within. Quite different sets of data. You need to hold them separately and distinctly in your monitoring systems. And then the other thing to hold on to is these sort of considerations of what are the shapes of the data coming through. So people are sending you data and monitoring returns. This is, for example, a project that is going to run for 7 years, and over 7 years will deliver 2,000 jobs. And in the first 6-month return on 6,000 jobs, they commit to have done 4,000 jobs already created. That just feels wrong. It's 7,000 for the whole project, and yet, which is 7 years, and in the first 6 months you've done 4,000. There's something not right there. Something hasn't quite happened there. They've either misreported or you may have got the target wrong. Try and understand the shape of the data that's coming back to you. And does that feel right? Does that feel sensible? And then we talked about it this morning. Start to understand whether the indicator data that's coming back from your applicants is starting to align with benchmark and evaluation evidence from elsewhere. Do those numbers feel right? Does the shape of those indicators feel right? Does the shape of what is being reported feel aligned with how the program operates? Let's think about it. So we're talking about innovation. Yeah? You would say that if you deliver an innovation activity to a firm, you might expect to see some change in innovative behavior next week, 2 weeks, next month, 2 months. Probably not. Innovation maybe takes 6 to 9 months to work through to start to affect businesses. So you begin to get a feel for how activity data for innovation is starting to align with when you might expect output and some early results indicators coming through. It's starting to feel the data, starting to understand, recognizing your logic chain, whether the shape of the data being reported is right and accurate. And you have to understand, I'm sorry to say this, you have to understand, it's a very, very difficult thing to say, you have to understand that project applicants really are only interested in one thing from you, is cash. That's all they want, actually. They might say all the right things. They might write all the beautiful applications. They might say the most wondrous technical terms to you in meetings. They just want your money. And the process of getting outputs and results is part of the trade that you as program managers get into. You give them money, they give you outputs, results that help you deliver your program. Never, ever, ever forget that. Yeah? And they will do, I'm not saying they're all thieves, yeah? They will do whatever they can, the minimum amount available, to get the maximum amount of money out. We all understand that. That's human nature. But just be very critical, be very probing of what is put through to you in terms of data, and all the time be thinking about, again, understanding the shape and feel of your data, performance risks in your data and indicator strategies. Which of the projects I've got, if they don't deliver, are going to cause me a problem? 100 projects that together give 100 outputs compared with one project that gives 500 outputs, which is the one you put your attention on. The one you focus on like there's no tomorrow is the one that delivers the 500 outputs. Because if that one goes down, your program's in a lot of difficulty. If one or two of the other projects go down, you only lose one or two outputs. So understand the risk in your output and indicator profiles going forward. And this last point, as I say, they're not all thieves. Some of them are very constructive, some of them are very pleasant, some of them are very gifted, but be constructively skeptical about what is being sent to you. Yeah? Challenge. If it's not right, push back. If it's not clear, push back. You have that right because you have got the money. Yeah? But once you've paid them, then it becomes difficult. Yeah? Cash is king in all our aspects of lives and in all our program delivery activity. So all that data is coming through. For projects, you're beginning to aggregate it, and you're now beginning to sort of squeeze this, squirt this into your project and program cycle to make sure that this machine that you're running, appraising, spending, contracting, monitoring, closing, all that activity is running like a smooth engine. And the data and the monitoring information that come through help you to understand if your car is running smoothly and efficiently or whether it's spluttering, not working effectively. So it's really important you are actively looking at the data, looking at the indicators. Do they feel right? Are they coming through in the sort of right profile? Are we talking the same language about indicators? Are the levels appropriate? So watch out. So it comes back in, drive it around, and all the time you're using those data. This is the point about active management. You're using those data to improve this. Yeah? It's clear we're not getting what we want. We need to start to sharpen up still more our appraisal stuff. It's clear that we're running behind in our output delivery. We need to sharpen our monitoring. It becomes an active process. You're managing the machine to perform as best for you and as effectively as you wish. Do not treat your programs or its projects as being fixed in concrete. Use the data to flex and amend your interventions as they progress. The people who can flex their programs, people who can realign their programs, they're the ones who will long-term have real project success and make an impact. Now, implications of that, where projects are working really well, let's do more of them. We like success, we want more success. Where projects are performing poorly, why is it? Can we fix it? Or do we actually basically say, this isn't going to work, and we terminate? Yeah? But again, you're in the driving seat. You are the people who are making the decisions about how your program works. Stuff that goes well, let's have more of. Stuff that goes poorly, let's understand why, and let's fix it if we can. And if we can't fix it, we may need to look at other options. Yeah? And really, please understand that despite all your best efforts, your best brains, your best thinking, your best weekend working, that is the truth. No program or project is initially perfect in its design and operation. We might have got the data wrong. We might have got the interpretation wrong. We might have actually got too much politics in the program. High quality monitoring and using the message that comes through from applicants in terms of monitoring and indicator data is a really surefire way to get your projects to a state of perfection. Really running well, really running high performance.
If you'd like to see more details about the evaluation of Interreg programs and projects, please check out the different models Interact produced. In each of the models, you will find various materials such as videos, guidance papers, Q&A documents, links, and other details.